Welcome to another video from the playersaid.com. I'm Grant. Today's going to be not necessarily an unboxing or an unbagging, but I did receive kind of an interesting shipment the week before Gen Con from a company that I was not necessarily aware of prior to them making contact with me, but a company by the name of Shapeways. And they have a website if you want to check it out. It's shapeways.com. What Shapeways is it's a company that first off, they will design and print various figures, figurines, miniatures, vehicles. Also, they make dice in different formats and in different out of different materials. They also have a kind of a process whereby you can go online using a software program that I believe you can get from them or obtain from them, where you can design your own stuff. So if you're a DM or a GM or a war gamer or a miniatures gamer and you're looking for something specific that doesn't necessarily appear on the market or is offered by other miniature companies, it looks like you can kind of use this software in this company to design, print, and create, and then they'll ship those to you. So kind of fascinating, kind of interesting. What I received from them, and these couple of items that you can see here on the table. The first one I'll show you is a die. This is a 6-sided die, and as you can see, it's made out of metal. I don't know that you can tell that. It is actually hollow. You can see my finger through the die itself. But it's made out of metal. It's very, very interesting, actually. This is, I believe, it's a steampunk theme. So you can see it. It's kind of an interesting die. It's got a very good weight to it. It's very hefty, very well made. Even though it's hollow, I think you could probably stand on this and it's not going to break. I don't exactly know how they made this, but it is kind of cool. Just trying to show you the different sides of the die there. And you'll notice the numbers are a little off-centered. They're kind of cockeyed to the right. I think that's kind of a cool thing. It's obviously a thematic choice they made. But you can see it's kind of a clockwork type situation and kind of a neat die. It rolls really well. It makes some good noise. I think a good die should make some good noise. So that's an example of a product that you can either buy from Shapeways, or potentially you can get on there and design your own set of dice for your RPG gaming or your war games. You know, let's say in a war game you need 6 or 8 6-siders and you want them to look a certain way. I think that you can design those. So it's kind of a neat product, a neat offering. So there, I've showed you that die, sorry. Then the next item that they shipped to me is I play Pathfinder and D&D as well as war games and board games, tabletop games, card games, etc. So one of the items that I noticed they had, and they went ahead and shipped me an example, is a fantasy miniature, and I believe this guy is called a Toad Man or something like that. To me, if I were using him in an RPG, I would probably use this as a bullywug or something like that. You'll notice he has a neat little club there. There's quite a bit of detail on this mini. Look at those huge bulbous eyes. And then you can see he has kind of textured skin, warts on that skin. So really, really nice, high quality miniature. So this is one of their printed miniatures, and it's very lightweight. So it's kind of like the bones from Reaper minis, very light. And, you know, frankly, hard to find toad men or bullywugs, but I think this might be a cool thing that I could use in my RPG. I obviously need a couple of them. I'm always one that I like to have things in 3s or 5s. Kind of an odd number so that I can throw a group together to vex my PCs. But here's an example of one of their I think this is a 3D printed miniature. So, I don't know. Just really neat, really cool. I think this is a very up and coming company. I think they're trying to get their product out there. So I'll be honest, they shipped a couple of items to me. I looked them out. I'm trying to do this video for them. We're going to post this on our YouTube channel and probably put a post on our blog as well. But if you're interested, go ahead and check out their site. I think it's shapeways.com. And it might take you a while to navigate around the site. I found it to be a little overwhelming because there's so many options. But you do have a lot of options of things that you can do. So I appreciate these two things being sent to me. I will try to use them. In fact, we're doing starting a new Pathfinder campaign this evening. And I'm going to make sure I use this 6-sider. Don't know if I'm going to use the mini. Obviously, I haven't painted it yet. But I do have that, and I will work on that. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it. And you can also subscribe to our channel or visit our blog at thePlayersAid.com for board game reviews, reflections, AARs of war games, designer interviews, and other videos. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.
So what's up, guys? I'm Alexander from the Players Aid, and today we're doing something a little bit different, as you can tell. So I think Grant just showcased a little frogman miniature and a metal cast die that was sent to us from a particular designer who was designing 3D prints for Shapeways. And I went ahead and painted up the frogman miniature, so I'm going to show you that right here. And so this is a 3D printed model, and I painted this up because Grant found or created a character, an NPC for him to go into our Dungeons and Dragons campaign that we're currently playing. And so I wanted to go through. It's a great looking miniature. It was super easy to paint. It's fairly small, so let me grab work in progress here. This is a Games Workshop Lord of the Rings dwarf, kind of for scale. It gives you kind of an idea of what that looks like. So I just want to go through some of the things that I did to get him to look how he did, just in case he wanted to paint something similar to this. So Grant wanted him to look kind of sickly, because he was going to be an outcast that would be then befriended by the player characters. So to start off, I based him with it's Model Masters Custom Enamel, and this is Africa Mustard. That's kind of like this ochre off yellow color. I don't know if this light does this particular justice at all. Let's see. That's that one there. So we just sprayed all of that. And then once that was dry, I left that for about 24 hours. I then just washed the whole miniature with Seraphim Sepia, which is a yellow kind of ochre tinted wash from Games Workshop. Well, from Citadel, but it's Games Workshop paints. And that adds kind of these layers of depth to some of the crevices here, so you can see where his skin folds and the recesses of his mouth and under his eyes. That's what gives those shadows. That's one thing you'll learn about me through painting videos. I'm a lazy painter. I kind of want to just get them done, so I'll use techniques which might look good on a table, but they're not going to win you any professional painting competitions. It's kind of hard to see, but after I did that, you'll see there's some lighter tones of yellow, and that's highlights that I did. I did a dry brush over all of that with Flash Gets Yellow, which is a very, very bright yellow. So with this, you want to be extremely, extremely light on how you apply it. So I just do a dry brush, so I get this old thrashed brush. This is just terrible quality brush. And then I put some paint on it, and I wiped almost every drop of it off onto a paper towel. You can see I do this a lot. So almost every part of the paint coming off, and then you just very lightly brush it back and forth over especially the higher parts of the miniature. So you'll see there's more of it on kind of like the tops of his eyes here, and over the over the raised parts on his muscles, on his shoulder blades, things like that, and on his hands and knuckles. That's mostly where that goes. Just allows it to kind of pop a little bit more when it catches the light, or gives that fake lighting effect. So that's, and I do that with a lot of my miniatures. Just lazy. I'll just dry brush 3 or 4 layers and it looks great. With his little club here, that was painted with dryad bark, which is a very, very dark brown. It doesn't look dark brown in this, but this is the color it comes out with. And then that was when that was dry, washed that with Agrax Earthshade. Again, it's hard to see in this daylight, but it gives depth to the crevices in the club. Just gives it a bit more definition. And then to paint the gray spots on it, I used, so this is my pavement, which is, do I have the actual paint here? Yes. So I use a very dark gray, which is actually, this is 99 cents from Walmart. This is apple barrel pavement. And this is kind of a really thick, cheap paint. So I mix this 2 parts paint, 1 part water to thin it down. And I use it religiously. You can actually see, let me pull up, this is an assassin here. So his head is primed with a very dark black. And it's hard to see the slight tone change. But the flat gray, I love working with this color gray. Because you can wash it with Nuln Oil, and it goes very, very dark. It's a great surface to work with that isn't just pure black. So I use this a lot. I use that for the under gray, and then I just used some, what is it? Storm vermin fur to highlight with the lighter gray on top of that. Then I painted his eyes, which I used a base of Castellan green. That's the dark green you'll see kind of in the corners of his eyes. And then over that, we went with just a small kind of circle of Lauren Forest, which is a much lighter green. And then his eyes, it just did a thin line of abandoned black to give him those kind of reptilian, I guess amphibious looking frog eyes. Kind of set him aside from heaven, just white and black eyes. So someone just started up a chainsaw outside, so we'll wrap this up here. The big part of this miniature was doing all of his kind of boils and spots, and that was done by using, I think I used, where is it? The red is a Mephiston red. And I like using the bases because the bases are very thick, and so it looks very disgusting. And then I used I didn't use White Scar, that's a lie. I then highlighted with a small dot of white. It's Pallid Witch Flesh, which is actually an off-white. So if we compare it to White Scar, very hard to see a difference. But this off-white, love this color. This is a great color for painting bones, and doing great highlights of that, just being a very harsh white color. And then if you look, the miniature itself is flat, but I got the kind of boils and spots to look kind of shiny and have this kind of green tint to them. And that's using Citadel's Technical Nurgle Rot. Again, this is a really fun paint. I try to find excuses to use this, because it's kind of a niche paint. I use this on things like an Otiug that I painted, and I've got, I might have them here. I have some, I don't actually know the technical term for these because I don't actually play Warhammer, but I use them for D&D. It gives this disgusting green slimy effect. So I like to use it on stuff that's got, slime and ooze and just disgustingness. So I dabbed a small point on each one of those spots, and it gives a shiny, glossy effect as well as giving that off-green kind of sickly look. And I thought that represented his character quite well. So that's everything that I did to him, just painted him up, and the paint went on just great. Primed him with that mustard yellow spray, and everything went on just fine. So really happy with how this turned out, and I can't remember the name of the artist who created this, and I'll just pop it up on the video here right now, because he's got an account that he uses on Instagram and on Twitter, and he makes some great little designs. And this is just one of those. So thanks for watching, and check this out on Shapeways if you like painting miniatures. This is a really nice, cool, unique miniature to do.